What's up, everybody? Back again, Warp Charge Gaming live from Battlegrounds. At least that's where I'm at. And I'm here with James and Chris. I'm George. And James in Illinois. Chris, you're in Tennessee.
Yep.
I'm in Midlothian / Richmond, Virginia, Battlegrounds, home base of Warp Charge. We're glad to be here. We do this every Thursday at 9 o'clock.
Sorry, guys.
No worries. Thursdays at 9. Every Thursday. It's episode 92. We've done it 92 times, at least. Maybe. I was looking through the playlist of the talk shows. It was actually funny. Oh, Chris, this just reminded me, dude. So I went back to our very first 2 episodes of our talk show because I was digging for the frickin' FAQ thing we were hunting down. Right?
Yeah, the Halberd FAQ.
So we'll talk about that. We've got a lot to talk about tonight just because there's always something cool to talk about in the world of tabletop wargaming. That is what we do on this show. If you're tuning in for the first time or whatever, 40K is our mainstay. Age of Sigmar, Warcry, Kill Team, and Infinity are games that I additionally play. Chris and James dabbled in some Kill Team for sure. Chris more than James. But we're happy to talk about any of those subjects or just competitive gaming, tabletop gaming, mostly tournaments. We like to talk about the big events that go down each year: Nova Open, Adepticon, LVO, the ITC in general, Best Coast pairing. And tonight, I definitely am excited to talk about the new ITC stuff. I mean, we've been talking about that over the last couple of weeks. It has kind of been in a draft form, but I can't say that I truly got to have as much of an opinion as I do now after getting to play it a few times, The experience, seeing it on paper and actually playing it out, can definitely be a little different.
Yeah, for sure. I've only gotten in 2 games under the new ITC system, but I've got to say, man, it's revolutionized the way I've approached list building as well as playing the game. And it feels very much almost like a new game. It's not, but it feels good.
Yeah. So, to say that, I have been playing so many different games, and I dived into Infinity just, not too long ago, and it stole all my attention. And honestly, 40K was kind of stale for me. And all these new publications that came out, and everybody's been kind of riding the train of how many different ways you can play Chaos. So it sounds to me when it comes out of my mouth that I'm like, I can't believe all you can do with Chaos. Everybody's like, I've been there, done that. But man, after the new ITC rules, that motivated me to go all into reading all my rules again and going through all the new Ritual of the Damned and Faith and Fury, Psychic Awakenings, hitting up the old Vigilist books, and really looking at the combinations you can do with Inside of Chaos. And I was been blown away both at the application of applying those rules to the new ITC mission specifically, and just the depth of how much there really is to choose from, and kind of feeling the pains people talked about struggling to pick, 3 detachments is when you have so many awesome different legions and things you could take, 3 detachments becomes so restricting at the end of the day,
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, I can tell you, even one of the lists I was playing with was 3 different hive fleets, so 3 detachments. And, just trying to get all that tech in there, man, it's interesting, especially now with all the new secondaries. There are units I'm finding myself using that I'm seeing other Tyranid players, for example, using that previously were almost unfielded. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Man, knowing the feeling of knowing whether you're going to go first when you're deploying and knowing or if you're going to go second. And even down to picking the deployment maps and then getting the secondaries with turn in mind is so cool.
Absolutely.
We posted on the Warp Charge Gaming Facebook, and please go like us over there to stay in tune with things that we just kind of regularly post out. Oh, what's up, man? Finally made it from Sin City. Nice to have you, buddy. Alan just said what's up in the chat. But I was getting ready to mention that we just posted on Facebook that we were actually going to go forward with. I had so much fun seeing the different game tables. Let's get James back in here. I had so much fun seeing the different game tables at our 40K major a couple weeks ago with all the custom placed terrain per each match, that I decided that I wanted to continue to do that. And in the ITC practice missions I've been doing, we've been doing the players place the terrain before you do any or other sequence of the ITC pre-game steps. So we don't know the deployment zone, who's going first. So we just throw all that stuff out, and it's been a lot of fun. It really makes the choosing the deployment zone that much more dynamic,
Yeah. it definitely forces the terrain placement to be more in mind with the fact that you don't know how much control you're going to have over the terrain placement. I think it kind of encourages the players to think a little out of the box based off of their list and over the fact they don't know deployment or turn order. So it's cool. I mean, people that have hailed Adepticon style missions have commented like terrain placement is such an important weird element of the game that has largely been lost in the ITC mission set. I even saw recently another GT institute a very strange rule where it's very like static terrain, but they allowed each player to rotate a single piece of terrain up to 360 degrees.
Okay. Yeah, man, I am a believer, man. Like it gives the feel goods. Like I'm all about eliminating excuses in the 40K world. Like I can't tell you how many times I heard at the major, I got seized on. I mean, of course, Mike did get seized on 3 games in a row after winning the turn roll. So if you get seized on 3 games in a row, now that's hilarious, and you should tell us about it. But otherwise, I hear it a million times, and I think it's the same thing with who went first, and then also, but the getting to place the terrain, you get that feel good of like, cool, like I get to place a piece of terrain in either a suboptimum way or an optimum way for yourself, or a suboptimum for your opponent. And it has that sense of like back and forth tactical, like haha, and versus just like, the map's the same every time. Like if you're getting brutalized in the first game and then you got to go to the exact same table setup in the second and you feel like your list is a little beat up, at least feels good if you have a little bit of a chance to manipulate the way the board looks, and it makes every board different. I think that's great. Come on.
Dude, so I've gone back and forth on this idea.
Yeah.
On like what is better. And like at first I was like, damn, dude, like you can put someone at a real disadvantage if they have a gun line situation and they get the right piece of the terrain. And like you can also get caught off guard if you weren't paying attention to it, and that person was. And like there's just different levels of play that I think will actually be shown when you do have this alternating terrain placement depending on list build, and knowing someone else's list and how their play style over your play style. But more and more I keep thinking about it, more and more I'm like, man, in a competitive situation, like that's like the best case scenario is like, let's say you are a tacticianer that doesn't want to chase the meta, you want your own thing, but because you have such high terrain placement IQ, like you start dominating with a list that looks subpar,
Right.
but because you know how to go to the table and you know how to place that way ahead of time, and you're thinking about that point of the game more than the opponent, it kind of levels the playing field. So I've been weighing more and more like it's a winner to me. I've debated back and forth, and it's like, honestly, like if you're playing competitively, that's like the most like non-dickish way to be competitive.
Well, something that makes it, and what from the outside in, when we made the post and we did get some feedback, we're like, well, what about this? You can do it to your opponent's advantage. Like, I disagreed right from the state that you could, like, yes, you can do it to your opponent's advantage, but you can also do it to your advantage. And what makes it most viable for us to perform this is something that's exciting news that we've mentioned before. But you guys can kind of see right now on the screen, I'm trying to show you the new terrain set we have. So on the screen right now is the classic Nova L setup. This is literally what they have at Nova preset. You got hills in the corner, you got your, ruins in the sides, and your big L's in the middle, and you can't stay on the L's, whatever. Restrictions, the same. This is what you have every time. I think this board sucks. And it's just so not interesting to look at. But what I was getting at is that these pieces that we have, now that we've gotten these terrain setups from Coastal Wargaming, it's a fantastic upgrade to our tournament scene. I cannot believe we have it. And we have 16 tables now that are all going to have this exact mirrored style terrain that's going to match the mat. So there's duplicates. Everything's in pairs. So there's 2 L's, there's 2 hills, there's 2 forests for every single table. And by having that sort of synchronization or synergy now it takes away the like, oh, he got the good piece of terrain. There's an equal amount of terrains, and so that makes it even that much more functional. You know what I mean?
Also, it gives you like the opportunity. I mean, it didn't work to my advantage at the major, for example, but I know, for example, Forest having the penalty they do, I didn't want my opponents to take advantage of the assault negative. So I literally, in a lot of my games, snatched up both Forests because I was like, I don't want that in your deployment zone. Like, that is a hindrance to me.
Sure.
Yeah. So, like, it's one of those things, like, yes, it's mirrored, so quote unquote. You can place it as fairly as possible, but it still gives that sort of dynamic element where like someone who is trying to play a wonky kind of list or an odd strategy could game it to their advantage without, like abusing a mechanic that the community may feel is overpowered or something. It's literally, it's almost the purest form of outplaying somebody, in my opinion.
Well, even beyond that too, though, it's the literally while it has all this tactical advantage, it just looks better. The immersion.
Oh yeah.
Is every table was unique, and it made it made you like that. You're like feeding the craving of like wanting to see a cool board. Every board looks cool. In its own way, and like it's cool to see like the unique ways that some people would place terrain or how terrain would end up being placed and the way the deployment zone ended up being. It can really twist and turn the and require a lot more. Again, I'm going back to it being tactical and neat in game, but it's also just the immersion. The tables seem more alive. They seem more realistic.
Fair.
What I've been getting the feels of. But yeah, so that mixed with the ITC missions have been crazy, and man, the turn one is the first few turns of the game have changed and being so much more powerful. The forward deployment, infiltrate deploy. I barely got to see in action sappers, and I know you're excited about that, Chris.
Dude, I've only gotten in 2 games so far with that, and I've got to be honest, man, my list, I'm just having so much fun playing it. Like, I've had 2 games that were very close in score that I've managed to take home with both, and with that for me, it's fun to play a list where I'm literally gaming on a strategy for secondaries. I'm not just trying to take this is the killiest unit in the codex, this is the most survivable gun creature in the codex. I feel like I can actually go out of the comfort zone of this is what's good a little bit and be like, what can I do that is good for scoring these secondaries and kind of just try to game a list around this specific scoring concept.
Yeah.
And, beyond that, I can tell you whether I go first or second, I have a different game plan. You can build a list. I think it's easier to build a list with the new ITC missions in mind that further achieve specific goals, because I think in the old ITC missions, it was a lot more about seeing how many of the secondaries you could just overlap.
Sure. And it allows you to actually perform your strategy more able-bodied. There's not as much of a I have to do in case he does seize. Or, when you're deploying in old ITC, which would not to say anything about ITC, this is just old Warhammer. But you don't know who's going first at all until after all of the deployment. So you always, there's not even worrying about the C's, you just literally don't know. So you always have to play super KG or in a maybe sorta. So it makes this more hidey, scaredy feeling. But now you can straight up put your characters on the line.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's the craziest thing. It's the most mind-blowing thing to me every time I deploy now. I've played a couple new games like that. I'm going to be going to a tournament this weekend that's using those rules.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. It's crazy to me deploying, especially as a combat army. I don't have any defenses behind me. I'm literally just rushing forward. Even when because if I know I'm going first, I deploy myself in a way that I'm still rushing forward, and then my movement will be my defense.
Man.
It's
James,
so strange.
Did you get a chance, and this is just some news for the folks watching, we did a bat rep on Monday of Infinity, and then we did a bat rep on Tuesday of 40K. Yeah, I played Ryan, but I don't know if you caught the match I went against Ryan, dude. He tore me up, and it was just a great example of...
Dude, I saw that. That was a good game.
I was choosing, I had all this stuff planned to go first. Didn't get to go first, and I didn't have any plan for what to do versus another army that just gets right up in your shit, And he was playing Deathwatch Raven Guard. I don't even pay any. I'm all right, I just know it's Marines. They'll do whatever the fuck they do, and I'm gonna kill them. I wasn't ready for the shit that he had, man. He had it so that he had the assassin that turned, because it's in his army list, it didn't even matter if it was on the table or not, that turn 1, no matter what, any CP I spend on a 4+, it costs 1 extra. And if I don't spend the 1 extra, I lose the CP. And then on top of that, he had a stratagem for, I think, Raven Guard that allowed him on a 5+ to make it so that I have to spend extra CP. So turn 1 and turn 2, for spending more CP, he was capable of making me potentially spend up to 2 extra CP on a strat. So I had this triple battalion list that was about being a CP battery and doing all kinds of strats. And here he is, like, I got a list that can get right on you. I don't care how you deploy. I have these Vanguard guys with storm shields and jump packs, and they just jump right over your lines. I have enough guns to kill any screen you put in front of me. So what are you gonna do? And I literally took me an hour to deploy, dude. I had no idea. Besides, I just made this big ass. I wasn't ready.
That sounds so wild.
I was not ready for that shit. And so then the other problem was he had 3 assassins. This is the list that he built after playing in the major. And at the major was the possess bomb on going crazy. There was 15 chaos players and every single one of them had possessed. And so he built a list to fight the conceal strat, to fight the new meta for the chaos.
So that's so funny. So for me, like, being someone who plays chaos, but primarily Khorne, like, I just can't make the possess work without psychic powers. So me being just so hard to the fluff of not being psychic, like, I can't play possess. But yes, every other chaos player has now put possessed in their list.
Yes,
with some way to fuck up.
And it's all about the conceal strat with the Alpha Legion. So he's just like, well, I will get directly on your shit, and whenever I want to. He had, like, I swear to God, it was over 3 different ways to teleport his army out in the turn 1. He's like, yeah, these guys, they move before the game, and they can advance and charge, so I'm going to move before the game with an advance. They already moved 12 with jump packs. So he was got, like, I don't know, 30-some, 40 fucking inch move. I was like, at first I was trying to, like, it took me an hour because I spent the first part of the deployments just like trying to screen out my entire deployment zone and make it so there was nowhere to land. And then when I realized that it wasn't going to work, and like I had packed all my, like, berserkers hiding behind my rhinos so much that we realized that if he charged them, all my guys inside were going to die because they'd have nowhere to escape. So I had to fix it.
Oh no!
It was just like everything I was trying to do. He's like, yeah, well, I can do this, that, and the other. But he had all 3 assassins, the named assassins. He had snipers. So all my characters that are meant to do all these auras and move up the board all had to hide. And that was the biggest thing he added is, he had seen all these possessed players at the tournament, just basically having all their characters just out in the open, just chasing their guys around and doing all this amazing shit. And doing stratagems out the yang. He's like, you know what? I'm going to shut down strats. I'm going to shoot all your characters. And it sucked. So,
Raven Guard are already good at killing characters because they have the chapter tactic that is good against characters.
Yes. So I want to show, because I actually got some images and this lines up with that, let me show you actually the list building. We were mentioning list building for the new ITC. So I started out with this thing, and I didn't want to use possess because everybody's been doing it. And again, I haven't been paying much, I don't pay much attention to what everybody else does. And I just kind of was reading through all the rules for the deep dive for the first time over this past week. And so I'm like, cool, I'll make Alpha Legion Berserkers. The conceal rule for Alpha Legion is nuts. Like, I cannot I cannot resist it. It's like, how could I not want to do that?
It's so sexy, and that's how I'm using it in my doubles.
Yeah. So, like, I was like, let's make Berserkers badass, because we got all these Berserkers in the studio, and it's like, yeah, I'd love to run those. So I had this, I've been trying to force, every list I make wants to have 4 detachments in it. I always want to squeeze one more thing in. You want your Night Lords, or your fucking Emperor's Children with that fucking turn the whatever dice to a 6 on the charge and take the Raptoral Host and get your own no overwatching warp talents, like insert that. You want your Thousand Suns you got a Thousand Suns relic now that can just cause you can do a free strat once per game, so you can do a 3 CP fight twice for free. Or flip your 1s to 6s. You just want to insert Thousand Suns for these cool Warlord trait relics. But this Alpha Legion's got me stuck. And then if you start adding in discos, then you start talking about Flawless Hosts. So anyways, this list, it was whatever. At Plague Bearers, I didn't think I was being as in-depth in my thought process, trying to use the Plague Bearers to soak up stuff. Ended up switching over to this guy, and this is the list that Ryan fought and wrecked me with. 2 Chaos Rhinos, a unit of 8, and a Exalted Champion and a Lord inside one, and then 2 units of 5 in the other, and then a 20-man block that was getting concealed with the strat. And then you got a 20-man Zangor bomb ready to dark matter crystal in their shit. Rubric Marines can forward deploy with a new strat to let them put them somewhere on the board outside of 9 of the enemy deployment zone. You got the Contorted doing the awesome Contorted shit. We had a badass Thousand Sun Sorcerer and Terminator armor. Like it has all this cool shit. I was so proud of the list, to be honest, because I had all these combos and everything fit, and I was like, yeah, I fucking did it. And then I got stomped, boys. Got stomped. And so that then made me make this list. And this is my like, no, fuck you. And the reason I lost that game, guys, is because my Berserker slapped back. Like, he only killed my screen at that turn 1 that sounded so scary. He ended up killing my entire screen, everything, all the cultists, whatever, right? I still had all my Zangors, still had all my Psychers, had my Rubric Marines, had all my Berserkers. So I had all my offense. I just lost all the delivery system and all the screens. And was able to kill everything that he put in front of me, the aggressors and these Storm Guard guys. But the rest of his list, the shooting guys in the back, I couldn't catch him because I was too slow at that point. He killed my Warp Time guy with his snipers. I couldn't get my Berserkers moving past the 6-inch move. And so I was like, all right, no matter what, if I'm going to have half my army dead, the other half of my army is going to be able to haul ass, is what my mind's eye said. So this list here I'm super stoked on. It's got all kinds of sauce in it. Right now there's some proxies on there with the Slaanesh, the Herald Slaanesh there riding the Seekers there. That's actually another Mauler Fiend. It's 2 Alpha Legion detachments and a pure Slaanesh detachment, and the whole army Slaanesh. I realized, and like again, everybody knows this, and it seems like it's like duh, but I was like trying to use Berserkers in here, and for almost the exact same point exchange, you can take Possessed, and they're just better in every fucking way. I mean, mainly in the synergy of this list, because Possessed versus the Berserkers, you got a 7-inch move, you got 2 wounds, you're still the high strength, you now have a Slaanesh keyword, so you're benefiting from the reroll 1s to hit, the +1 strength, the advance and charge. They still have Heretic Astartes, so it can be warp timed. So they're just better. So I got the Possessed Bomb in there. I have my Supreme Contorted Epitome. Celeste is a badass. A real Lord of War. And the sick thing is Celeste versus, say, a Demon Prince at 210 points puts out +1 strength and reroll 1s to hit. And it has a mechanic to, fight in the fight phase and then consolidate and fight the next target with your other weapon profile. It puts out like 20 attacks. Ridiculous.
It's almost like a Khorne Berserker, but like for Slaanesh and a Demon Prince. Like,
yeah.
It's good.
Yep, we got the Slaanesh Obliterators that can shoot twice. And the sauce that I'm real excited about is the new Alpha Legion abilities with the Warlord traits, the relics. So like now on the right there is a proxy for me for a Master of Possession. And he's taking Cursed Earth and Infernal Power for reroll 1s to hit and wound, and Cursed Earth for +1 invuln. Well, you have no way in the Codex to make him go faster, typically, with like a jump pack or a bike or anything like that, or even deep striking. He is just a fucking Master of Possessions. But now with the Alpha Legion book from the Faith and Fury, you can give him a Warlord trait, or you can even pay 1 CP for We Are Alfurious and just add him as an additional Warlord. And you can give him the ability to pick himself up and put him within 3 inches of a Alpha Legion infantry once per game. So literally he could be in the backfield, and then you could deep strike your Obliterators and just pop him right next to him. And you got your +1 invuln and your fucking reroll 1s to hit and wound. That's dope. He's just basically not slow anymore because the discos are going to be hauling ass. But additionally, you can give him this Mind Veil relic that now gives him a movement value of 3d6 and flies. So you can make him teleport once per game, and he moves 3d6 now with fly. So
sounds like you could be a decent like postman or something if you really need it.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's the fun. I love the new ITC to be able to like pick in like this is the time to pick postman. But we can pop the Forbidden Gem in there for a shutdown. We know the Slaanesh strat to drop attacks, but we got the Master of the Soul Forges disco. That's the super cool thing is now we have all our discos are -1 to hit from Alpha Legion outside of 12, but then we have one of them as a Warlord that has -2 to hit. So I'm really about to. The biggest thing about this list is, do I flip it to Flawless Host? I'm trying to decide, do I want those extra attacks with Flawless Host, or is the minus to hit going to benefit me more? And I'm going to see what it's like to have a -2 to hit disco and a -1 to hit other discos. And we got the Master of the Soul Forge in there.
So my opinion on this is the fact that you're counting this -1 from being outside 1 inch or 12 inches. is like these things get into combat, man. You're so rarely going to be using that bonus.
It's that first turn though, you know. It's that first maybe second
I,
turn.
I get the first turn. If you're getting hosed down the first turn because they're the biggest threats, I get it.
But also
But
too, James,
typically,
like throwing the Mauler Fiends and the Possessed and the Obliterators as the first problems, and almost kind of like hanging back for that mid-game, late game with the discos too. You know?
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. I just find with my experience playing with that Legion with those models, it maybe comes into factor one or two times shooting, and that is it. And
Yeah.
I
That.
much
Yeah.
rather have the extra attack or the advance in charge twice in comparison to like
Yeah,
that
the,
one
the,
to
the
two
output
like
is
shot.
just so much more brutally. So let's just figure it out then real quick, James. Help me do it. So we're trying to make we want the Alpha Legion Possessed, obviously. We might as well have Alpha Legion Obliterators. We don't need them to be buffed by discos.
Exactly.
So now it's about our characters, and the problem is based on the amount of HQs we have, there's gonna have to be one disco in one of the detachments. So there's gonna be one.
Okay.
So you take
That's you're just
the
forced to
minus.
because of
Yeah.
force order.
Or yeah, and you make him the -2 Alpha Legion guy. So you got one minus
Yeah.
two guy, and then the other ones are the fucking. So the -2 guy, he'll be there to buff and whatever, but he's not going to get the benefit from the Master of the Soul Forges. That's the only real negative.
But that's almost okay because the fact is he's most likely going to be the one least shot at.
Yep.
So like,
Who cares? Yeah.
who cares?
It really doesn't. That's what I'll do. All right. Cool. It's
Heads
done.
up, you got James H in the chat asking you to post up your list in the show notes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll post it on the back end here. I was making sure in my mind's eye here. So one of the problems may be this too, then James. I might have to actually change the list in some way. Is that the two HQs would be a Lord Disco and the Master of Possession, and for his keywords to work, it has to be the same Legion type. So he would end up. Let's see. He would be in the Alpha Legion, so he wouldn't affect all three discos at that point. It is a struggle there.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and that's what you always come up with these chaos lists. There's always like some sort of you're trying to make all these combos pop off, and you end up like having things not get the aura effects as soon as you start breaking attachments up.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of like their form of balancing it all out. Otherwise, it would be broken.
Now I wonder what the math is of dropping like a few. Like there's 12 possessed there. If I went to maybe 10, I think they're only like roughly 16 points apiece. That's 32. I need to get to 50 to get to because that's just a herald. What's the cheapest chaos guy? 70, 60, Master of Execution.
60 something. It's the Master of Execution.
Yeah, so I need to get 60 points to just add another HQ and then problem solved.
And he's such a badass. This World Eaters, man. He's so cool.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to chew on that. I just like once you start going down to like 9, like spinning the Alpha Legion 2 CP on like 9 possessed, it just doesn't feel that good,
Yep.
Yep. Struggles. But in other news, some other cool things before we go back to some other stuff. I did a sweet buy today, man. Got some more Space Wolves hooked up from the Wobbly Modeler painters, dude. These are some awesome. I just saw these and fell in love with them. They're just scout models, and they're like converted Marauders with 40K parts. But I just thought they were super unique looking.
That's super cool.
They're fucking cool. So I bought those up. And then I got to actually have real like blood claws and shit. I got a whole mess of actual Space Wolf infantry. So I'm ready for the book. Got a new Ruined Priest. Here's a look of it all on the display board. They just look really nice. So sweet. James made this display board for you guys wondering at home there. He also painted this whole army besides the guys that I showed you. Super pumped for the new Psychic Awakening for Space Wolves.
Speaking of which, the expected release tease for what everyone is assuming Ragnar Blackmane is getting a new Primaris model. The expected leak date or tease date from Games Workshop is this coming Monday, and we're probably going to see this book the 21st or 22nd of the month.
Okay. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Having the new models is definitely exciting. Man, we got a lot of new Tyranids back in the studio since Chris won't come home yet. I'm glad that Mike's picked up a shit ton, man. He is about to get a stack. He's going to have 18 Hive Guard, dude. It's going to be scary. 18 painted beautiful Hive Guard got behind me right here. So that's gonna be saucy. I'm nervous. Those guys kill, man. They kill a lot.
You
Dude,
best
Hive
be
Guard are
nervous.
good.
They really are good.
Be nervous.
Yeah, I can't have Mike kicking my ass, man. I mean, that's my job. But yeah, so what's cool about this weekend is James is going to a tournament. So next week, you guys will hear us talk about how that goes. And it's going to be a doubles event, which, funny enough, so is this weekend for Warp Charge. There's the Season 3 tournament scheduled there. This week is a double header as far as the stream channel. You guys will see doubles 40K on Saturday and then an Age of Sigmar tournament on Sunday. So yeehaw, that's going to be a good time. I think I'm going to be able to squeeze a quick game in with Mike tomorrow and get to try the list out we just talked about. So that'll be exciting. And
Just got some new teases on Sigmar for the Seraphim. What are they called? The Sephirom? The Lizard Men.
Yeah, Seraphon. They get to now bring in. They're very notorious for running in hordes with a bunch of these little skink models. And it's kind of like limited, or like it's what's usually works best. But now the new updated rules are going to have the ability to bring a bunch of big dinosaurs, like their troop slot. They call it battle line in Sigmar, but it's like their mandatory troops. You have to take 3 troop slots basically, or mandatory force orgs. And these giant dinosaurs now will get to be the battle line. So awesome. You love to see like the smaller the amount of elites or troops, the better. I love big.
They also
big
they got a new Start Collecting box, I understand, as well as I think the Daughters of Cain and a few other people. And they also got some kind of new giant terrain piece, some kind of world breaker engine or something or another.
Yeah, I've heard that it looks awesome. I haven't got to see it yet. I'm gonna try to pull it up for us now.
It's cool looking. I know that there's some people were like, a little bit salty about it being like $60 or something, but it's definitely a cooler piece of terrain. And I mean, I know there was also for them, a lot of people were really salty about their fluff because, back in the change from Fantasy to Age of Sigmar, the fluff got really shaken up. And apparently they have a lot of new fluff in this current coming out book that kind of rewrites and retcons some of that. So we'll see, hopefully, some of the older school players super into the fluff on Fantasy get happier with what's been done. But yeah, this cool period.
Oh no, guys! I just totally booted everybody out trying to show stuff off. Chris was right in mid-thought too. Let's get him back on here, guys. Whoops! Don't hit those buttons. It's so silent now. I'm all by myself. It's awkward. Google. Yeah, I got this. Yeah, I got this. This isn't working. Anyways, tournaments and stuff. Hilarious. Hopefully they don't leave it. Bam. Bam. It's so silent in my ears. It's driving me crazy. There we go. Guys, that was dumb.
Good job, George.
Try to show off that dumb Seraphon terrain. All right, and we're back.
Sorry, viewers. I don't know who you could hear. I imagine you could hear George.
We heard you like kind of finish a statement, and then I was just like being an asshole, staring off into nothing. That's what it's like when you're live. So yeah, things are happening. We got a tournament this week. It's gonna be great. We're gonna play some games, and then James is gonna go play. James, what's your list gonna be like this weekend with your partner there?
Oh, dude, let me pull up my list because it's actually kind of fun.
Okay.
So it's practice for Adepticon because Adepticon's around the corner, and everyone wants to get their 4-man team practice in. Mm-hmm. So we're doing 2v2, but we're doing 4-man team missions, which is basically the same as the champ missions as far as I understand. There's slight tweaks to it. So there's only one warlord. The way they do the detachments are different, though. So you only get one detachment, 1,000 points, and only one of the specialty detachments are allowed in your team. Everyone can take the base detachment, which is 5 CP, and then you only get that. There's no Battleforge extra bonus CP. So it's very CP limited, and it's a little unfair. I mean, I want to play with my toys, you know.
Ooh, Shop's Closed calls you out, dude. They said, ooh, you're gonna lose, sucker.
Dude, they suck.
Dang.
They're used to losing, bro. They got all the practice of losing.
Oh,
Shout out Shops Closed. You guys go check out their podcast and all that.
So I'm running Alpha Legion as a base detachment, and I got a Demon Prince, the Slanesh. Um, I haven't decided if I want him to have a relic or not because only one of the captain gets the relic, kind of thing.
Okay.
And I would take Hydra's Will because CP is so scarce.
Oh, it's so
Hydra's
good.
Will, it would just crush people,
Yep.
especially if you're mixed because you have to use your CP independently.
Oh man.
So it's crushing. So I haven't decided if I'm going to actually use it, but he got Delightful Agony. I'm bringing a Sorcerer with the jump pack. He's got Prescience and Warp Time. I have 3 units of 10 cultists, each unit with a stubber in it. I have 1 unit of 11 berserkers. So it has 10 with the axes and swords, and with the chain fist, or the, not chain fist, but chain sword and power
Giant.
fist
Oh, okay.
captain.
Yeah.
And they got the Icon of Wrath. Then I got 6 Warp Talons. And then I have 3 Obliterators at a Slanesh. The Warp Talons are Corn. The Berserkers are Corn, obviously. And that's 1,000 points. Like, that is it.
I never even thought about the warp talons are always so Slaneshi in my mind just because I think Emperor's Children when I think about them. But yeah, you can bring them as corn, huh? That's cool.
So I've played around with the idea of making them
Go see
um,
Joe.
if I wanted them to be Corn or Slanesh, because having Delightful Agony and putting it on them is useful, but I'm always putting it on the Demon Prince or the Obliterators, where I've never even like been in the opportunity to put it on them because I'm so used to putting it on one of them over priority. So the reason I've decided to go with Corn is because the Berserkers already fight twice. So it's nice when they fight 3 times. But the Warp Talons, if they fight a second time because they can fly, I can find myself over a line.
Always thinking about that kind of stuff. Yeah, nice. I like it. I like it.
So that's where I'm going there. So I'm super starved for CP. I mean, I'm literally going into this with 5 CP,
Yeah.
and it's scary.
Yeah.
I had it originally when I thought I was getting a bonus CP or bonus 3 CP for being battle forged. I was going to upgrade it so that I had the warp talons getting the extra 2 inches.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not going to happen now because that CP is valuable.
I feel you.
But what I do is take the berserkers, I redeploy them 9 inches further. If I know I'm going first, if I'm going second, I bring them off the board. Simple as that. And put them in reserve for turn 2.
Yeah. Oh, that sweet new Alpha Legion strat where you just
Yeah.
pick up, you just pick up a unit of infantry
Yeah.
and say, "Shit, I'm gonna bring him next turn."
Yeah, and then with new Grey Knight sickness of appearing 3 inches from you, I have now used the stay away from me strat so that you have to now appear 12 inches from me.
Yeah. And then
So
there's
they
all.
pop their strat to get 3 inches from me because the order of operations is they have to use that strat when they come on the board. And then when they decide that model's coming on the board or unit is coming on the board, then I pop my strat that they have to stay 12 inches away.
Yeah, that's nice. What's also it's super cool to. Oh, I forgot what I was about to say. Never mind.
And then obliterators, them coming in, always nice that I can have the option to double shoot them. But with the new Alpha Legion strat, if you come in within 12 inches, I can now shoot you when you come in.
Yeah,
So that's now helping with those tricks.
I was gonna say that it's tight that you can use that pick up and redeploy, or deep strike the next turn, like even into turn 4 and 5 now with that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I have thought at first when I was reading the rules that the Warp Talons could actually get the no Overwatch more than one time when I read it. Because they get it when they come in on Deep Strike with the Repturo Host Strike,
Right.
and they don't get Overwatch when they come in from reserves. Well, you have to read it because they only get that the one time.
Yeah.
They don't get the second time they come in. And I was like, damn, that would have been so nice if you could just keep continually ignoring Overwatches with this one unit.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm
But
pretty.
I really like it. And then the auto explode strat is really sweet.
Oh yeah,
I find
super is.
myself using that. Well, it's not auto explode, but they explode on a 3-up, and if they're a model that explodes on a 4-up normally, then they auto explode.
I really wish you could make your own vehicles explode that way, because I wanted to send.
Dude, I'd much rather do it to someone else's
Well,
if
I hear you.
if they
I hear you,
explode.
but I want to send those Mauler fiends in like ticking time bombs, though, kind of thing. You know, like.
But I understand.
Yeah.
But that's when you have Death Guard, and Death Guard can
Ready
do
to
the
blow.
big ass things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. More.
You can do it with drills, bro. You send Poxwalkers inside drills.
Do we think we're gonna get Death Guard some Psychic Awakening touch? They've been left in the dust for a while.
They are one of the factions that's yet to be done. I mean, I've heard multiple things at this point. I mean, originally, out of Games Workshop's mouth, in their original teases, they have said every faction is getting done. But I've even heard 1 or 2 podcasts lately saying, hey, like a few factions are getting left out because 9th edition is coming. But there's so much rumor mongering going on at this point, man, that it's really hard to whittle out what noise. I mean, at one point, people were saying, oh, Custody's Codex 2.0 is coming out because of this shipping container from China that they found the tracking logs for. But even the people that are like chasing these rumors don't understand how these shipping logs work, because Custody's 2 doesn't mean Codex 2.0. It means, hey, second wave of goods coming out of China on this, like time frame of shipping.
Yeah.
So like everyone is digging for straws. I still think they're getting done. I think they're probably going to be one of the last books, because at this point, the books that we're pretty confident are coming out immediately, obviously, are Wolves, Orcs.
Hey, Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
You're good.
But are you basically saying, like, the only reason why we haven't gotten Death Guard yet is because of coronavirus?
Exactly. We're not getting Death Guard because literally all the shipping out of China has, it's gotten ugly.
Wow.
That's all I picked up from what you were saying.
But yeah, no, it's good stuff. I think they're going to be on the last book, because I think my suspicion is the last book is going to be Death Guard, Custodies, and Harlequins, which I know is a weird one, but that's just me guessing.
That's cool. I can feel that. Yo, speaking of viruses, you got me thinking about my cool custom in Kill Team mission that I wrote up for Kill Team stream. I just throw it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. There's actually a little misprint in this image here about how passing some stuff works, but it looks great. Kill Team stream made it look badass, and we came up with this fun mission. We talked about this last week on the episode, and we came up with zombies together, and I have made a zombie mission. I think it's actually really fun. And I can't.
Oh, dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, it looks sweet. Basically, like when things, I think it's kind of like what we said. Like if I remember it, I'll try to spatter it off. When a model dies, like basically out 4 inches outside of your deployment zone, you got a 4-inch deployment zone, and then 4 inches beyond that. If you don't get outside of that zone, that's where like the giant horde of zombies is coming, and there's like basically an unstoppable wall of them. And you have to make a leadership check. If you don't pass your leadership, if you're not outside of that deployment zone area, then you turn into a zombie from getting overwhelmed by them. If you take any sort of flesh wound from a zombie, then at the end of that turn, you're going to turn into a zombie. If you shoot a guy, if you don't roll a 6 for a headshot, he turns into a zombie. Like whenever you do the injury roll, if you don't roll a 6 to kill them on the injury roll, then they turn into a zombie after the fact. So like it just constantly creates a shit ton of them, and the zombies will head the objectives
Have
are
you
all.
test played this mission yet?
I have not, but I'm pretty confident it will play well and be hilarious. I made a looting scenario so that you can pick up the guns off the dead models. So you can like go pick up like a Thousand Suns silencer. You could get a blight launcher off of a Death Guard guy. We did say though that you can't pick up like a Tyranid weapon though. Like it can't be any sort of like bio type weaponry. It would have to be
not like Demonette claws.
Right.
Can't get like
right. So there's a looting mechanic, and I can't see it close enough right now to remember. Let me see if I can see it here. I want to see the victory conditions. Dang it, it's not being friendly. Oh, I probably know why. Kill team. Zombies, there we go. Bigger, there we go, okay. So we made it. I said I did the infinity thing where there's a hidden leader, so nobody knows who the leader is. And if you end up killing the leader, whatever you get a point for every turn he stays alive. So if you make it through all 4 turns, you get 4 points. But but you don't know who that secret leader is. So you're sitting there killing the enemy, and you're trying to hope that you gun down the actual leader. And then you get points for every zombie you take out. Zombie killer is the next secondary. Score 1 victory point for every 2 zombies taken out of action for a max of 4. And then finally, scavenger. So at the beginning of the movement phase, you can choose a model from your kill team, and if he's within range of an objective, he can choose to scavenge that objective. And he was not. It's kind of like I took from the ITC engineers. He's not allowed to fight or shoot, and he's able to scavenge the objective instead. So you're trying to scavenge 4 times in the game, you're trying to kill more zombies, and you're trying to kill the hidden leader, and then otherwise just like primary scoring, and all 3 of the objectives are just right down the center of the board, where everybody's just, it's just gonna be brutal, dude. It's a little frenzy of death and awesome. So I'm excited about that, pretty cool. And also speaking of things, of viruses and stuff, I said I'd mention this, there's a cool 24-hour event going down. I think it's the last weekend of March here at Battlegrounds, and it's in support. It's a game-a-thon in support of colorectal cancer. I had a tough time saying that earlier, and that's going to be going down. It's going to be cool, and because we're giving money to people in need and stuff like that and good causes. So come to Battlegrounds and check that out. And then also super awesome that I've been mentioning is Sam Lenz is coming June 27th, 28th, 2-day event. I just met somebody today at the store here that lived 2 hours away in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they were like, oh, I just heard about the store. I saw you guys had that you're going to be hosting Sam Lenz here. He was super excited, as a big fan. Won the Golden Demon Award over 7 times, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure, but 7 at least. And dude's going to be here at Battlegrounds teaching people. What a way to get quite a personal experience with this guy when he usually has big classes at large events. So it's going to be very personable. And the customer today, I don't know paint clinics very well as far as pricing and stuff, but apparently the cost of this 2-day event is what 1-day events can cost. So pretty badass, and I hope that we really pack the house and continue to bring amazing talent to the store and our community here at Battlegrounds.
Nice.
Yeah, so I just want to get out that little thing. Another funny segue, guys, is that I wanted to show the Infinity board that I played on today. Because I have a camera ready to show it. I'm going to do it now. Check this out, friends. Infinity is such a cool game, and I just want to show the sweet crane. Got this sweet crane set up. We're fighting in this big warehouse. It was super fun. But you guys can go check out our secondary channel called Warped Charge Gaming Presents Infinity Battle Reports. And you can see the many different Infinity Battle Reports I post there. Usually once a week, every Thursday, we go live. We go live on our Facebook and our Twitch for Infinity, but I don't put it on our YouTube because we have a separate channel. You can go check that out. I hope you do. It's such a great game. The last 3 games we filmed have been fucking incredible. They've been such good matches. But that's all I'll say about that, friends. I'm done. So we are at 48 minutes. We have covered a lot of things. I'm looking at all Mike's new fucking collection of models here. There's a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, man.
He's gonna be here sometime.
I know we touched on it a little bit last week, and it's been discussed to death. But do you guys, a week into the new ITC missions, and a week after the Marine changes, what are your guys' feelings on how this is going to shake up the meta in the ITC circuit?
I think Paladins are strong as fuck.
Yeah, super agree. Grey Knights are in a great place.
Dude, Paladins are just too damn strong, and having a psychic power to get back a CP is just insanely too clutch.
It's really nice, isn't it? It's only once per turn, guys. No big deal.
Oh, no big deal, bro.
You can deny
It's
it.
basically like a free battalion every game if you cast
All
the
I'm
power.
saying is I thought the Gaze of Fate was an auto take because you got a free reroll, but no.
Yeah,
I'll take a whole CP.
we got Red Corsairs, man. No big deal.
No big deal, bro.
No big deal. Yeah, I was laughing about how, apparently Space Marines, they have, of course, their Legion traits actually affect their vehicles and stuff, but not for Chaos. But I was
Yeah.
like, so while that upset me at first, I was like, well, we do have. I mean, I was like, well, we have prayers, but they have litanies. We have like miasma, pestilence. We got so many keywords that can play with different things that they don't necessarily have in the Imperium.
Bro. But paladins are seriously
I,
so
I
nasty.
tell
They
me.
kill everything in the shooting. They can kill 2 units in the shooting phase. They kill 2 units in the fight phase. They kill 1
Why
unit in the
I'm not
focus phase.
super keen with them, man. What's the word? We're talking about Terminator guys, like they're the Grey Knight
Oh,
Terminators.
yeah. Yeah.
Just paladins, no big deal.
Let's let them come roll your face real quick,
Are they?
bro.
They're T4 with 2 wounds or what?
No, I don't know, man. I just know they're just insane. They're insane.
I believe there are 2 wounds, but
They -1 damage. They're just nasty. They're just the grossest shit in the world.
All right. So to Chris's question, he thinks that Grey Knights are going way up. Grey Knights are on top of the Space Marine pile there.
In my
Yeah.
eyes, yes.
Yeah.
yeah, I could see that.
Okay. I could believe that. So we might see a lot more Grey Knights in the meta. Is a thought process there.
But then I also see Tau being still so dominant.
Yeah.
James Harrington says they're 3 wound termies, even scarier. Even scarier. I don't know their profile well. Again, every time I see Imperium, I'm just like, I'm just gonna kill them.
I think additionally, because of the shift in missions for ITC, we're going to see Eldar. I mean, Eldar has remained pretty consistently cleaving its way into the top here and there, but I think because of the ITC secondaries, it is a good time to be an Eldar player, though Dark Eldar is not good right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Look inside there, too. Yeah, you say Dark Elder's not in a good place. Man, I'm blown away by we went rampant with the get CP back strats and relics and whatever. I remember back when Guard was getting like a bajillion CP a turn, and now we have all this turn your CP off stuff, which I was like, whoa, that scares me and hurts. So that's interesting. Like, I feel like after seeing like Ryan's list, you guys out there should really go check out the most recent 40K bat rep. Ryan's list was really wild as far as some of the new things you can take mixed in with just great stuff. It was cool to see like he never like bought into like the repulsors and doesn't have like the relic leviathans and multiples in every list. He wanted to make his Death Watch and his Raven Guard work, and they've been so rewarded, and there's so many combinations you can do that it's amazing to see what different people bring sometimes.
You're saying he's a cheater. I get it. Ryan, you're a cheater. He called you out.
It was really good. I just didn't expect it at all, but that I might also just be really head in the sand because I have not paid near as much of attention to what other people can bring or what even I could bring until this past week. Just because I haven't been as motivated. The 40K major was super invigorating. The new ITC is awesome. And now that I'm reading all the cool rules that we have access to, it's just, I'm very curious. Curiosity drives my inspiration. And I'm just, I want to see how all these different list ideas play out.
Ooh, speaking of which, in the hunt for all these new lists in the ITC, George, we had an interesting discovery about some of the Games Workshop FAQs.
Yeah. Talk about it.
The short version is we had to look up. There was an old problem that we experienced. Actually, one of the first times we went to Adepticon because of the Hellbrute keyword,
right,
where bold text in strategies was referring to what was it? The unit.
It's called a Fire Frenzy. It was like shoot twice basically. Shoot twice a Hellbrute. And the relic, the Chaos Relic Leviathan has the Hellbrute keyword. And people were using it on that, which is a 20-shot platform or whatever. And it turned out that it was related to the way that they wrote the word, which is in bold or not bold, would be related to the actual unit itself or the keyword of that's inside the unit. And I believe it was bold is the unit itself, not bold is the. Maybe I'm mixing it up. Not the keyword.
It is the bold, as per how I've been answered most recently, is the keyword. I don't know that that's 100% correct because the 40K competitive ITC discussion gave me mostly smart-ass answers
Oh
that
my god.
some of which that I followed through with and still did not get a concrete answer. But the short
Dude,
version
do
is,
you want a concrete answer, bro? I have
yeah,
concrete answers for you. Because I had no idea you guys had this discussion, but
Yeah.
someone else brought this up, and
Yeah.
I had to do my own investigation.
Uh-huh.
And it's quite ironic, dude, that like you guys had your thing, and then I've already done this.
Well, what's
And
hilarious, dude, is that
I'm not.
when we went searching the old FAQ that we remembered where it did
Oh, it's gone. It's
it,
gone. It's gone.
yeah, it's gone. It used to say
Hey,
exactly what
hey,
we're describing
yeah,
right
no,
now.
yeah, no. That's why I think it's hilarious because I have
they
concrete.
reworded it.
No, they didn't reword it.
Yeah, they did.
Well, there's
I posted. I'm looking for it right now.
Oh,
They changed it somewhere else and then took out that one, and we caught
no,
that fact happening.
bro.
Yeah.
They came out with the 2.0 codex.
that's what it was, of course.
Okay,
Okay.
so
I got
all
it
right,
here.
so
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm gonna explain the GW timeline to you.
Okay.
Chaos Space Marine Codex 1 comes out, all right? And it's in there as bold, all right? And it says Hellbrute. And when you do bold, it's keyword. They FAQ'd it back to being unbold, being just Hellbrute unit, all right? That was the old FAQ. Then the 2.0 came out, which is interesting because when the 2.0 came out, the Vigilus Ablaze also came out. And when they both came out, they were like, well, if you have Codex 1, you just need Vigilus Ablaze and, or not Vigilus Ablaze, Shadow Spear or some shit. So that it was like Shadow Spear added with the old Codex makes the new Codex. And if you had just a new Codex, you didn't need Shadow Spear because it already had all these new units in it with as long as Vigilus Blaze and all that shit. All these
Okay.
books came out at the same time.
Yeah.
And if you still had the old original codex, it wasn't fixed in the book because it was already published. But in the new book, it is fixed. It is non-bold, and it's just a Hellbrute unit. So they took the FAQ out because it's now fixed in the publication.
Right.
Now, if you go to
But now
the
we have no
Thousand
precedence
Suns,
on the whole thing that they
but if
used
you
to
go to the
say.
Thousand Suns, because the Thousand Suns Codex is out,
Okay.
their FAQ still corrects their Fire Frenzy, but their FAQ is correcting it in the way that they got theirs wrong in their book.
Yeah, so it's not the same wording.
It's not.
It's not
It's
the
not
same.
saying the bold, unbold thing.
Yeah. So you just have to know by reading the main rule book that's not in the 6-page, like how to play things, but in the actual main rule book where it
Page
goes over the bold,
175.
unbold stuff about like building like
Oh
your army.
yeah.
So you have to go into that to see how that all that breaks down, and then read your publication to see, okay, it means this, it means that. Otherwise, the FAQ doesn't follow anything but new publications.
Yeah. So yeah, it gets wild, and you have to know that like if there's an FAQ that you lean back on in your army and stuff like that, or like it helps explain something, don't expect it always to be there, because
You need screenshots, bro.
Yeah, because
they-
the reason this is even relevant, guys, because obviously, like we said, it's fixed. They don't need it in the FAQ because they have it right in their rules now. But we're trying to be looking at another instance. I think it's ITC related, right, Chris? Where we're trying to apply the same logic to another rule set.
Well, I actually had to look at multiple FAQs because basically I'm trying to use the Red Terror, which has the Ravener keyword, as a drop pod through a Hive Fleet specific stratagem. And I've had to use like 2 FAQs to like figure out that this can work, because there's actually an FAQ in the big FAQ that says when something is worded Terminators plural, it can still affect a character that is a Terminator without the S.
Uh-huh.
Like there is literally an FAQ that says that.
Yeah.
And because of that FAQ,
because the Red Butchers allows your Terminators to act like berserkers, and people were like, "Oh, dude, I can put that on a character, and he attacks twice like Karn, so I can have a Terminator Karn." And people were like, "No, it says Terminators, not Terminator." So then they FAQ'd it, so now you can't.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I've literally had to use that FAQ plus like one more to be able to be like, and I've screenshotted them as was mentioned is probably a good idea for most people that are trying to do this. Like I've got all my ducks in a row now where I'm like, if anyone's like, oh, but it says this, I'm like, yes, but I can use this 50-point horrible model as a drop pod now.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild with that stuff. And I remember it just being hilarity that we both remembered it, and it's one of those things where it's like, I swear I'm not crazy. I fucking searched control finded like so many FAQs, like bold, not bold, keyword. Where's that FAQ? And they don't necessarily know that. I wish they stashed they shouldn't erase anything, dude. That hurts. Like, because sometimes you need it for a presidency.
But the thing is, you can still pull that shit up. It's the internet. It lives forever.
Yep.
So it's not there, but you can go to that like time capsule website.
Really? Because that's what I was trying to do, dude. I look back to our episode 1 and 2 of our talk shows to try to find us pulling that FAQ up.
Yeah, no, you go to like Google Time Capsule, and it allows you to go to websites. When you pick what date of that website's life.
Oh, you just do it right after March, yeah. March of 2018.
When they did that FAQ, you just go on to there, and it will show you all that was on there.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, that would be fun for next week's episode to try to go hunt that down and pull it back up. But yeah, March.
We're having a friggin' Pepe Silva Always Sunny's moment where we're all just trying to connect the dots, figure out where the hell this damn FAQ went.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I already did it. I did it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so did we. We all did it. Yeah,
I covered it.
Chris was all frustrated and typing in our chat, and I was like, wait a second, I know what you're talking about. There's definitely an FAQ. Why can't you find it, Chris? I know where it's at. I'll go find it. Motherfucker, where is it? Then James doing the same thing on his own. Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's life, friends. Well, we've reached the hour mark, guys. Is there anything other cool things we want to close out with before we jump out of here?
Man, just keep taking fun seriously, guys.
I mean, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully people tune in this weekend for what we got going on Saturday, 40K doubles. Sunday will be
doubles.
Age of Sigmar. Dude, we got an amazing Tuesday. We're going to try to rock an Age of Sigmar game that has Oscar Lars Painting Studio did a badass commission for Will, the owner of Battlegrounds, of his Bony Boys. I can't ever call them the I can't ever say their name right. I'm a terrible pronunciator. The Osiark Bone Reapers. He has a badass painted army of that up, so we're going to feature that on the channel on Tuesday, and looking forward to that. And then you'll probably see me and Mike rock his new Tyranids versus that new Chaos list we talked about earlier on Friday, prior to getting set up for the event. We talked a lot about the Coastal Wargaming terrain that we're going to be featuring and placing before the ITC missions this upcoming weekend, so if you're coming to the doubles tournament, get ready for that. Hope you played some new ITC missions because they're awesome, and if you haven't, you should. And that is life. Congrats and thank you to all our Patreon followers. Particularly, we're paying out Sean Allen, who's been with us from the start, from when we kicked that off. He's getting paid out this month, and excited to get our rest of you guys hooked up in the next month after. And yeah, a lot of exciting things coming in the future. But we'll see you next Thursday again for episode 93. Appreciate you guys, Chris and James. You rule.
Appreciate you out there.
Yeah, you guys keep taking fun seriously. We'll catch you next time.
Warp charge.